For what could be the final time in this tournament, XSET about to do battle against Espada. Our second and potentially final map, if it goes the same way, Potter. We both expected that Espada would come out swinging and indeed be victorious. But maybe Dust 2 is a way forward. I'm not sure how excited, how much you're believing in XSET right now.
That's a tough one, Vince, because, you know, I was afraid of the disrespect coming out on Train, but this is Dust 2 moving forward, man. And if XSET aren't able to demand the respect and earn it in the beginning, then Espada are just going to run away with such an open map. We saw Finnegan getting looser and looser, even Dexter getting even more scary and deadly. So if XSET don't come out strong, it starts with the pistol. They've had a good track record with it so far. So let's see if they're able to get things going here.
Yeah, my concern continues to be that XSET, I think they've got to get the pistols. But they then need to start building off that. If they are unsuccessful with the pistols, I think it is a huge part of their gameplay that goes with it. Hyper-aggressive through middle. Zaz watching the cross. They also have Mimi, who's watching from the CT. Both of them have been tagged significantly. And although Zaz puts up enough pain to deal with Dexter, he's already picked up his first kill. Petra, in the meanwhile, though, does repel away Patsy and is keeping XSET in this round. A player to the good and forcing Espada on the back foot.
And good movement, good adjustments once again coming from Espada. Dima is going to take on these long A responsibilities. And with the timing here is everything. Petra, both of these players are completely aware of each other.
Oh,
And
Petra needs it. You feel like she desperately needed that Potter, and now puts it into a 2-on-2 retake. Oh, the headshot from Giuliano is so good, but both players one bullet away from death, and Finnegan, who was the Grim Reaper on Train, could be about to secure the round, and indeed he does. The pistol goes the way of Espada.
Finnegan with another 3K for himself, and this entire round started off with Dexter just YOLOing out that mid. He had the backup from his teammates, but just the sheer presence of Espada in that mid. Zaz had a good answer. She got gushed and pushed off of her angle. And although XSET have had those crispy headshots come through, Espada is able to secure that one. And another force buy here. Why am I not surprised, Vince? Here we are. 2020 Counter-Strike coming into play.
Yeah, so many forces. Economic situation certainly often favoring against the CTs, and they feel compelled to try and take control over the situation. Petra changing her seating angle, and now we're getting pushed. Fortunately, that peak didn't come a second earlier. She could have been unprepared. Dima straight in, first kill. And although Petra was burning alive, Dexter does her a favor perhaps and puts her down with the AK instead. Krasi turning attention elsewhere, doing the fatal damage to Dimmer, but it will be another post plant, and it likely will be another round to Espada. They have two weakened players that were both tagged by a scout, but with Zaz already pulling back with the AK, I don't think they're fully committed to even attempting this round.
Yeah, and the XSET players, they also just want to save and salvage whatever armor and weapons that they have. And a clean round, all things considered, once again coming out from Espada.
So here we have it. 2-0 start for Espada, a force buy that hasn't fully been punished. XSET still have some weapons to play with. They have scouts. I believe they had an AK save for Zaz. Couple of Deagles in the mix as well. They have enough firepower to make a real go of this, but when you look at Espada's weaponry, 4 assault rifles with a scout, it is just looking so deadly, and already taking long control and making it theirs with 2 players and soon to become 4. With only Petra here, and I say only because she is the player with the USP, it's hard to see how she can get anything done on the approach. It's more of an early warning system that's now been rung. And they're hoping the rest of XSET can get up close. Smoking them off, though. Multiple smokes in their eyes. Hoping for the best blind panic fire through the smokes. Yielding no kills as Patsy stands tall with the Galil. And the AKs alongside him shredding apart all of them. But Petra on Gandalf maybe can get the drop onto Finnegan. Doesn't have the kit, so couldn't go for the ninja defuse, but at least gets the kill alongside Crashy. Makes this costly, but there will be no saved weapons. Their endeavors are cut short.
Dude, Dexter is so aware. How did he just start jumping up and down from elevator to spot out Petra there? But either way, things got interesting towards that Gandalf area. The AWP coming out in full force for Giuliano right off the bat. It is in Dexter's position as well. Looks like this will be starting off with just a default. Not a lot of good spawns to work with for Espada. Giuliano. Got a lot of pressure coming her way. That's a collateral leg through the wall of both players. Giuliano doesn't know it. No one knows it. It's unconfirmed damage, but could make a huge play later on in the round here. Please, Finnegan, react to Dexter.
Kind of crazy. As you said, it's not something you witness too often in CS. Now, although they don't know it, it does put them both in the range of the M4s, and when there's a lack of utility, this is pretty significant. The other thing as well is it's not as if Espada with that low HP can really, go for and that could be a key reason why they're going to go for this more centralized B hit through the claustrophobic tunnel area. Molly down. Haven't been able to push behind that. But these two weakened players can get finished off so easily by Crasy or so easily from the car position of Mimi. This is going to be a brutally difficult round to pick up, but just as I say that, the entries are so rapid fire. 3 headshots come in back to back. This round is still not tied up, though. It's not been wrapped into position yet from Espada. There's a flashbang being lined in from Petra. She tosses it in. Zaz will be taking the initiative, pushes in, but it's into the AWP of Finnegan, leaving Petra with it all to do, and she is next on the chopping block. I find it somewhat crazy that Espada have pulled that round off.
Wow, I was just going to tell you, Vince. XSET, they've got their crossfires. We saw in their opening series versus VP, they had quite a good B defense, but Cresselia missing that initial opening really came to bite them. And Espada, man, they're so good at being tight-knit there. They've been reacting fairly well all night long to each other's contact. And Patsy, he's got no fear. Uh-oh. Good recovery coming out from Patsy. Things could have gotten interesting there, and he goes for more, just pushing through the smoke because why not? And Dima even there to secure that middle area. This is it, Vince. I think we're going to see some double ops coming out once again. Last time around on Dust 2, when XSET brought out these double ops, they didn't find as much success as I think they would have hoped for. I'm looking for some proactive plays. We've seen XSET taking over that B tunnel. Petra, it looks like she's holding down the fort towards this long A. Oh, Patsy, he's not stopping.
It's so straightforward for Espada to push out long, and even though Petra's got the opening pick, they already have so much control over the long side of the map. This has been a reoccurring theme, and Dexter, he'll be walking into the trap of Mimi. It's a bait and switch. So that's great news for XSET, but they still have to deal with this threat that's looming overhead. They are crossing to the A side already. Molly's being tossed into catwalk. The boost is good, and Petra will yield the rewards. That's such a sick play from XSET.
This Molotov should start the ball rolling for some sort of a retake. A second. Oh, the lineup! Holy moly, that's so much damage. Sotfik, he's still in the sight. He knows he just messed up that CT player. The confidence gives him a little jiggle to Zaz, deletes her out of the server. It's all down to Mimi. She's got a smoke and a kit, but no HP. And Sotfik, this small adjustment back to Gandalf should buy him a lot of time. Mimi's aware, though. Ooh, she's not. What a wild round, Vince. That lineup into CT spawn initially just did so much damage all across the board. 3 members of XSET were just funneled. They were stuck in that CT spawn, and man, Sotfik had himself a round.
Yeah, that's a 1v4 that XSET will feel bitterly disappointed they let slip through their fingers. And to make matters worse, Dexter, right off the bat, through the smoke, through middle, onto Mimi. There are unrelenting Russians on the side of Espada, and they are not giving XSET a chance to breathe. Constricting them time after time. Petra had maybe a fleeting moment of a chance of a 1D, which is quickly plucked away. And in doing so, Espada looking good for a 7-0 lead. They may not even lose a single player. Yes, they will. Zaz makes sure that Finnegan will feel the effects. Not that he'll care, because his team are steamrolling this map.
Yeah, things are getting pretty difficult. We see just a single up coming out from XSET this time in the hands of Giuliano. And so far, it's just those small margins, those small details. You know, we heard Maui and Bled talking about it on the desk. It seems like in the beginning stages of the rounds, XSET, they seem to have a pretty good idea of how they want to handle it, but I say that and holy, Dima just single-handedly takes over the B-bomb site all by himself. Both defenders go down. Sure, Zaz is able to pick off the Lurker and Patsy, but that's the entirety of the bomb site down. Dexter even has them pinned. It's going to be so important. Everything has shifted now. XSET, they're on survival mode. They've got to save these guns somehow, some way. Oh, it's not looking good though, Vince.
This is brutal. This is getting into uncontrollable territory. It's a good flash, and Zaz can pick up the pieces. That's a double up if they so choose. Dexter did have a secondary up. Giuliano holding on to hers. In pit. That's good news, but again, it's a pretty grim turn of affairs when you're basically happy about saving weapons when you're eyeing up an 8-0 deficit. Flashbang out to just afford Giuliano a little bit of space to survive. I think Zaz will opt to not go for that secondary AWP and instead picking up the AK. And I know, Potter, you've played a lot of Counter-Strike yourself. You've been in a lot of competitive situations. What the hell are you saying if you're on XSET right now? Like, how do you somehow garner together some momentum and start to build your way back into this map?
Oh, it's tough, right? It's definitely tough. I think the ladies of XSET, obviously, they're not under any impression that they thought that they were going to win this tournament or even win the series. I think they wanted to just gain that experience, potentially steal away some sort of an upset to gain that confidence as a squad, to just kind of reiterate and realize that what they're doing is the right play. But right now, they're getting completely outplayed across the board. And Mimi, this is that proactive map control I wanted to see. She's got a buddy. She brought a buddy in Crassi, and they took over that B tunnels. That should buy them some time coming into this round. Oh, but Digster, he finds an answer onto Zaz. Eesh.
One by one, they move into Dexter's crosshair. And a man of his stature will not miss, will not give up those opportunities. Petra getting aggressive outside of middle. All 3 of XSET actually clumped together, looking to make moves up catwalk. It will be another post plant as the bomb successfully gets planted from Espada. Fuse ticking away. Bit of utility. That Molotov gets extinguished by the smoke. And Patsy has them on the retreat. They will have no reprieve, no surrender, no prisoners taken, and Espada quick fires 9-0 lead.
Ooh, these Espada members, Vince, they're starting to look real crisp now. They have absolutely heated up into this series. They absolutely know that they're the better team. And individually, each of these guys, they're booming and beaming with confidence. Patsy finds himself a 3-piece. And Softic, he's just out of there. He's already in the big pit.
This this has been a reoccurring theme as well, Potter. Like, the amount of times that Espada have got control over long has been staggering. Every time they've had a good spawn for it, they have made the most. And it feels like XSET have just given it up. Like, sure, this is a pistol. Have to take a few risks, a few gambles. They hoped that it would be more of a B-centered hit. That's not the case. It's only Dimmer here. At least, though, they can pick up an AK. So some slight victories, I guess, coming through. Smoke in effect. Flashbang behind it. Petra turns her back and sees there's a slight gap, but can't really make anything of it. And has no help at all. She's all alone. No support structure. If she's going to clutch this round, it has to be single-handedly. There's one. We saw her P250 work on Dust 2 earlier against VP. It got them around all by herself. But it's a bit too much to ask that she'd rinse and repeat.
Dang, Petra's crosshair on that second kill was pretty damn close. I thought she was good for it. But here we are, Vince. The first half, it's dwindling down. We haven't seen XSET putting up a good fight quite yet. And it's been kind of just rinse and repeat. It looks like Espada are just bulldozing down mid. I don't think they're going to stop. They're just out. No nades. Oh, no. This is going to be so bad for Krasie. She has no idea quite yet. Oof. That's the B-bomb site gone, Vince. This is, yep. This is not looking good for XSET so far, Vince.
No, I think, in all honesty, the 10-0 scoreline pretty much paints the picture of how this game has gone. Sometimes you get very one-sided scorelines where there's a few rounds that could have easily gone back or forth. No, this has been an absolute massacre. In every sense of the word, Espada have been the better team. Giuliano trying some nice quick-fire shots, but nothing's really connecting. 11-0, and I kind of feel bad for XSET because we were just discussing it before. Espada have had so much success and so much aggression on A-Long. That round, XSET pushed 4 players on A-Long to take advantage of it, and it's the round where Espada pushed middle to B. It's so unlucky.
Yeah, definitely Espada are just in full control, and these are the kinds of matches that just become almost impossible as an underdog team. Because when you're the underdog, you come into these matches and you have a chance because your opponent doesn't want to mess up. They don't want to make the mistakes, and that's where you find your window. That's where you start to spice things up a little bit. But when your opponent is just better and they're feeling confident like this, whew, you need quite a bit going on your side to shut it down. So coming into this round, man, I hope XSET have some sort of a plan Z, something in their back pocket that's going to give them a confident looking round. And it looks like they're resorting back to that double AWP setup. But when these sniper rifles, the auto snipers rather, are coming out and just popping off shots in mid, that's a scary sound when you're on the defense.
Their money is just booming so much, as you'd expect from a 12-0 scoreline. Dexter was even using it last round to play aggressively on long. But finally, XSET has something to get excited about. They have the opening pick. It's Dimmer that is put down with authority. Now, XSET need to do something about it. The bomb dropped in an awkward position. I'm not sure if XSET actually had eyes on that. I don't think they did. So they can't really decide to play off the back of it. But Espada, again, no huge surprise, they have long control. And where long control factors in, there's always a chance that they can punish and push in and try and force Petra away. They've done it time after time. Flashbang is very good, and the headshot just as good, if not better. Petra's doing it all by herself. Those 2 kills are massive. And surely XSET have got to get their hands on this round.
5 versus 2. Molotov goes down, and this is a good position for Zaz. She is all alone, though, and this is how you kind of get back into the round if you're Espada, is finding stragglers just like this in Zaz. Oh, it's happening. Good reaction to find the one at least, just leaving Sotfik down all by his lonesome. And, Petra's already had a great round, and she ends it as well. 3 kills for her. We just needed the secondary AWP in Petra's hands, Vince. That was the answer all along.
Yeah, indeed. Did a really good job. That shot onto Dexter in pit was actually so sick.
Really good.
So quick to the head. That's not an easy shot to land at all. So impressive work by Petra. But you feel like XSET have to win from here on out. Take it 12-3, win the second pistol if they want to get themselves back into this map. And in the meanwhile, aggression through middle, and Zaz is picked off by Sotfixor.
That's so crazy, man. Zaz couldn't cross because of the auto sniper. She chooses her time to cross, and there's already an AWP at Xbox. Just forward, aggressive. Espada are absolutely capitalizing on all the map space that they are kind of just winning for themselves. Crassie, I don't think she's going to expect this boost. She hears the sound. That's a nice spam through the smoke. Oh, she runs out of bullets, and it's Finnegan once again taking over this B-bomb site.
Giuliano needs to tread very carefully. There are multiple adversaries around her. Sotfik tries to fake the shot out. Giuliano doesn't bite down on it, tries to flick across. It's an awkward exchange, and then Sotfik shows his hand. Espada 13, XSET 1, and their money in awkward shape, but they will be able to rummage together a buy for the last round of the half.
Petra could go glass cannon, but oh, that's a team player. You know that's a team player if she's buying all that utility and a FAMAS for herself. She wants to be able to hold down that long A somehow, some way. But it looks like they are going cat instead. Quick mid-aggression coming out from Giuliano. Could find herself a kill. The timing is definitely in her favor. She finds 2 for herself. Oh. And goes for a little bit too deep. Goes for more. Wanted that gun to replenish her bullets, but is traded out. And what the heck? Finnegan is in B bomb site alone with the bomb.
Somewhat surprised that he even tried to pull off that plant when he didn't really have too much of a support structure. But now Patsy and Dimmer showing their positioning, leaving Mimi in an awkward angle all alone, dropping down, making sound, and Espada capitalized. They will finish the first half 14-1. It will have to be one of the best comebacks in CS history if XSET pull it off. Find out if they can after the break.
Light the fire, chill the wine, turn the lights down low. All I want for Christmas is you. Trim the tree, deck the halls, hang the mistletoe. All I want for Christmas is you. Yesterday, I was feeling so blue. Now I'm happy here with you. Sit right down, hold me close while we watch the snow. All I want for Christmas is you. Stay right here by my side, say you'll never go. All I want for Christmas is you. All I want for Christmas is you. All I want for Christmas is you.
Snowflake, yeah, my heart is shaking. No one in the universe quite like you. Sitting by the fireside, bundled up in blankets, feeling like a holiday honeymoon. No matter every day. It's Christmas every day. It's Christmas every day when I'm with you.
Blink and you would have missed that first half. It was over very quickly, and hopefully from XSET's perspective, the second half will certainly be a little bit longer lasting. They need to play for a bit of pride now. Espada 14-1 in the lead as the roles reverse, and XSET can now dictate a bit more pace on their T sides. The one recurring theme has been in the pistols. They've done a pretty good job, and honestly, they should have won the first pistol in this map. Zaz has been smoked out of position, and they can't fully force their will and impose it against Espada as a result.
And because of that, things have absolutely slowed down. Got a full set of utility. Oh, that's going to be a juicy grenade. Petra with the no armor. Choosing to buy the utility for her teammates. Not quite as much damage as I feared, which should go in XSET's favor here shortly. But here comes the execute. Good flashbang.
He's stuck at the back. He can't really do too much, as you say, though. It's a really good flashbang. And now Zaz is ripping around the backside. Even though he was flashed, he got a kill. But that still is XSET taking control of the site. Surely, Pot, they can get it done.
I'm holding my breath. This is looking good for XSET, though. We've seen them in these positions before. They know exactly what to do in post-plant scenarios. I don't think Espada have a chance in this round. I say that, but Patsy responds. 2 quick kills coming through. It's all onto Petra in the site. Giuliano is a little bit further away, and it's happened. Finnegan has the kit. That was a 3 versus 4 post-plant scenario in Espada. They just make it happen. They make it work. Good headshots obviously coming through to help them out, and I don't know what to say, Vince. I thought surely that was XSET's round.
As did I. I genuinely thought that pistol was going to go the way of XSET and we'd have a game on our hands. But instead, Espada clutch against all the odds. And now they are 1 round away from taking this 16-1 and eliminating XSET from the proceedings here at DreamHack Open December. Could be their final play, as they do force together 4 assault rifles. They have flashes. They can toss out to long, where Espada have 2 players sat waiting, which will be Patsy and Dexter. Petra round the corner will come out second best against Patsy. You can't quite jump on top of that and get the weapon upgrade, but it may not end up mattering. Sophic at range goes in for 1, and there's Finnegan up close. It's looking very bad for XSET now. They're getting pushed from every single angle, and it's all down to Mimi. Can the Dane stand against the Russians? She's already been tagged down to 26. The final passage of play surely coming up, and Mimi is about to get fragged down. It's all over. XSET have been eliminated.
Fantastic showing coming out from Espada. You could see the confidence. It was absolutely beaming for these guys. They got beat up by 4s in the first series, but they absolutely came to play. You could see it. They were just the better team in that server. Unfortunate for XSET. I think they would have wanted to get away with winning some more rounds, gaining that experience, and just overall gaining some confidence for themselves as a squad. But man, what a statement coming out from Espada. They did not let XSET have any room, any wiggle room at all to posture for a competitive match.
I agree. I think there are definitely some positives that XSET can take away from this. They had some great pistol rounds. They had moments where they probably should have won more, to be honest, Pot, and I'll be disappointed they didn't convert more opportunities. But ultimately, it was a bridge too far. And as many would have expected, they will be eliminated from the tournament. Espada move on to play again tomorrow and the future days. However, that's going to be it from us. We've actually got our 3 best of 3s casted, so we'll be passing to the desk after this short break to break it all down for us.
Well, unfortunately, Dust 2 didn't go any better. It was a trouncing from the side of Espada. They seemed to start to have a little bit too much fun with it, even Blair, when we saw the Dak pulled out. And from that moment onwards, I think we all started to believe that it might be the end.
Yeah, the moment you see the Dak coming out, he started double up with the auto sniper in round number 12 or 11. They were just running along there, and yeah, the first half we saw a few heroic moments. Petra with his nice 4K. There were moments like the pistol round, for example. It was a 4v2, I believe, which they should have 100% won, but a little bit of I don't know what happened there, but yeah, you can't really read too much into this loss. They were just a better team.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's the problem, is like, especially going into Dust 2, it's a map that we know that XSET like to play Maui, but it's one that on the other side of things, like Degster's just an absolute tank. And it seems like once they're feeling confident over on the Espada side, it just doesn't seem like there's much that most teams can do. And unfortunately, XSET just couldn't quite stand up to it.
Yeah, what XSET just experienced is what a lot of teams experience, actually. Espada warming up, getting hot in the game, and then just running away with it. So credit to XSET, though, because they did have a couple of nice rounds. I feel like the theory behind a lot of the openers for their rounds was in the right place. It's just that when the game really broke down, or, you know, it's those 3v3s, 2v2s, even 2v4s at times, that's when Espada's experience really shone, and their individual skill as well.
Yeah, and I think that going forward into the tournament, Blair, like, do we think that Espada is still going to have what it takes to get through? Because we have to bear in mind that going into the matchup that we'll see later, the decider coming up for them tomorrow, chances are they're going to have that rematch versus Fours. Now, in terms of that match, it looked like they did decently, especially in that first map of Dust 2, but do you wonder if maybe they'll play a little bit more with the veto? Like, we saw them just ban out Vertigo. We know that Forza don't like to play it either. Could they potentially float something else and actually force Forza into a slightly more awkward spot?
I'd like to see that take place, right? Like, you are the slight underdogs considering you lost today here, so might as well float it, try and ban out a map like a punish ban coming in there, potentially. Again, I mean, we're not too sure. An upset could happen, you know? We don't know if they're going to be facing Forza. It is most likely, though. I feel it's going to be very close affair. We already saw it being very close here. I feel it's going to be different maps coming up tomorrow, at least as a decider potentially, but it should be very close. The good thing for Espada is this win's going to make things a little bit more, I don't know, like a little bit of injection of confidence, at least for some of the individuals. Finnegan, for example, rough start to the day, but in the end, he did kind of show up.
Yeah, other than that, like, of course, facing off against VP, Forza, that's going to be one of our next matches coming up tomorrow. And I'm sort of curious to hear your thoughts from their perspective, Maui. Like, do you, again, you mentioned it earlier that you're not really sure about some of the upsets being possible, but what would it take for you, like, for this group to completely go out of control? Because so far, I think it's been fairly standard. Like, what would it take for, like, VP to fall far enough to Forza to then sort of stand up to their might?
I've noticed sometimes in winter matches, VP has kind of experimented with the veto a little bit. The thing is, I don't really know what map they could even try, and I'll say this with air quotes, practice against Forza in order to lose, because I feel like VP's map pool is just so solid right now that even if they pick a Vertigo, which is kind of the map they're tinkering with right now, I still think they're stronger than Forza on that one. They'd have to really go off the cuff, like play their permaban of nuke. So I think if it goes a standard series, BO3, not involving nuke, I really just don't see a world that VP can lose.
I think that's the thing that worries me as well, Blair, is that so far we've sort of seen them picking into Inferno, which is a map that, at least in my eyes, I think VP are actually one of the top Inferno teams you get to watch in the world. Like, they have been so good at that map for a very, very long time. And that's the thing that really does worry me. If you have a couple of weak maps and then you have your pick being one that is also your opponent's best map, it's kind of a bit of a problem. But I have just seen somebody actually join into our Discord call. So I'm hoping that means we do have Degster coming up on the line. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the stream, of course. Congratulations on your victory. I want to kind of take your mind back a little bit. Now, in your first series, we saw you play a pretty close series versus Fours. Is it the chances are as well, like looking forward into the tournament, that might be your rematch? Is there anything in particular you think you guys could fix or do a little bit differently to take that match through?
Yes, I think we're gonna change something in our maps. Today was not easy for us. That was our first second game.
Yeah.
After first game that we lost 2-0, emotional on all players in team was not good. Now we need to chill a little bit and tomorrow try to win Virtus Pro first.
Okay. For you guys, like coming into this tournament, right? You look at a lot of CIS teams out there playing. We have Gambit, you have Virtus Pro, you have you guys as well. What's kind of like your aim coming to this event, so to speak? Like, is it like a top 4, maybe pulling off a win over VP, over Gambit? Would that be something which you guys are confident about?
Right now we want to be in top 4. We know that some teams like Gambit or Virtus Pro are not easy to us. It's hard to play against them. Gambit take Hobbit in their team after we lost 2 games against Gambit, and we cannot win Virtus Pro before. So we are trying to be good on this tournament because it's ending of season.
Okay.
We are trying to win all tournaments, like I will say like that.
All right.
I had a question about your just schedule for the day, because you guys did play 3 BO3s today. So moving forward in this tournament, do you guys think you're going to keep putting that amount of pressure on yourself? Or maybe, I guess, why did you decide to play that early opening BO3 today? Because I think it was a little bit confusing for all of us here. That
Yes.
Yeah.
We was talking about forfeit this match, but we choose to play this game because of delay. We cannot play third map and we forfeit this game. I'm sorry, we lost. I'm sorry. We lost second map. Yes, we was talking about forfeit the tournament, but we cannot do that. We already accepted it. It was our mistake. We don't know about how many tournaments we'll have in December.
Uh-huh. By this tournament, do you mean the 9 to 5?
Yes, 9 to 5.
Okay. Just clarifying.
If we can choose DreamHack or 9 to 5, we will choose DreamHack.
Yeah.
Do you have any more matches tomorrow? Like, are you good now?
Yes, we will play one more match 9 to 5 before the
You guys are
DreamHack
mad.
against Force or Virtus Pro.
Give yourself some rest. What's going on? Come on, man. Like, you're making things difficult for yourself. I do appreciate you taking the time, but you know what? I'm going to let you go get some sleep. Like, take the break, do a little bit of work. You've got, obviously, the chance to face off against Virtus Pro and Forza coming up tomorrow. And, yeah, get yourself ready and please get some sleep, man. Your schedule's mental.
Thank you.
I respect the hustle.
It's a grind. He's grinding. They're grinding hard, man.
Yeah, that's a lot of games.
I love the mentality of us. Like, so yeah, we realized today it was not the best idea. Are you doing the same tomorrow? Yes, we are doing the same tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's like, dear Lord, like.
No, I find it crazy because we have 3 best of 3s in a day. We're working 3 best of 3s
Yeah.
a day, and we're like, oh, it's gonna be kind of a long day. They're freaking playing 3 best of 3s. It's way more stressful, man.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they don't get any breaks as well. Like, well, at least in the same respect to either us or the commentators, like commentators having a couple of matches or us having like the breaks in between the games. So, yeah, I don't know how they fit in time to even eat or have their food or have everything, especially with their schedule in particular. So, yeah, it's slightly insane. I can definitely see
They're
why.
just taking bites when they're dying. When they die, they just.
That's a good point. Or it's just like, yeah, I'm having an issue with my my call. I'm gonna have to take a technical pause for 15 minutes. Let's go 15 minutes. And
just hear the doorbell ring, and he's like, delivery.
Or it's just monster energy, maybe.
That probably would get you through. I would advise having some food alongside it. That's probably a good idea. But yeah, it'll keep you going. And I'm sure there are people out there who genuinely do that. So I don't know. And maybe not for me. I'm sure I need to have my food, my substance alongside it, which today was some lovely fried chicken, and it may have been a mistake. But yeah, it's one of those things where I don't know. I don't know how some teams manage to do it. Like, I think we were looking at the stats for someone like Sprout in one of the previous tournaments, and their statistics were genuinely ridiculous. Like, I was just sat there going, like, you've played so many maps over the series, and I think that's why we saw them pull out of a couple of events towards the end of the year, because you just fatigue yourself. You just get absolutely wrecked. So Yeah, definitely. I think there's a few teams that are in that sort of mid period where it's like, okay, they're getting towards tier 1. Maybe they're like in the midst of tier 2 and they end up playing like a million qualifiers plus all the events. And it's just like, I don't know how they managed to pull it off. Luckily, our jobs are slightly easier. We get our breaks. We get time to talk as well. And you know what? I don't mind it. I'm getting my Christmas cheer going. I can see Blair that's still a little bit unhappy about that. He doesn't want anybody to be happy. That's what we've learned today.
Happiness is just a lie.
Oh god. Well, it seems like we're gonna get our second interview. Mimi will be joining us for this one, and although I'm sure it's a pretty tough loss for you and the team, the sort of question I wanted to ask you is slightly off the cuff a little bit, but we know that a lot of teams seem to take some of these maps a little bit less seriously. We saw some like auto snipers, some guns that you wouldn't normally see. Do you actually learn much from these sort of experiences? Because like, again, a lot of the top teams are not necessarily going to be making these sort of plays.
Of course, we learn a lot. And for example, VP, they were playing with a lot of respect and they did not do this. Also, I did see Espada do that earlier as well when it was the late rounds on T side. So, I mean, even though the score said 16-1 and 16-5, I do still believe that the game was closer because there was a lot of close rounds, and we also had a lot of rounds where we were in favor. But when it comes to experience, they were obviously the most experienced team. So, yeah.
Coming up next is going to be obviously DreamHack Showdown. That's going to be starting, I think, next Tuesday, right? Like, it's unfortunate you only had one day to play here, getting eliminated here. But any takeaways you'd have? Like you mentioned, VP game. I'm sure even though, both were losses, you could have had some takeaways even from this game. Heading into Showdown, you are the heavy favorites. So what's kind of like your mentality as a team heading into that event from learning from this, and how you want to kind of close out the year?
I mean, we are for sure gonna watch our demos and then take our mistakes and fix them for the next event. But we're super confident going into Showdown. We have no doubt that we actually are gonna win it. So that's kind of our mindset.
Cool.
I had a question. So you say you're gonna go back in the demos. I want to touch upon Train a little bit, because it actually felt like you guys were in control of that map at the beginning and things were going pretty well, but it just kind of ended up with a landslide of rounds for Espada. Before you look at the demos, what kind of are the initial impressions there for what went wrong in that game for you guys?
I feel like that maybe from the start they were not ready, and that way, like, we took advantage of that. They were maybe coming in a bit lightly and don't think that we would do much, and that way we got our 4-0 win. But I do think that they realized quickly that they have to be like completely serious and they can't just troll around, else they might lose this game. So I just feel like we try to play as confident as we possibly could and do as good as we could with the prep we had before. But again, the experience, they have a lot more than that, and yeah, basically it.
Out of curiosity, do you put a lot of emphasis on your pistol rounds? Because out of all the rounds that we witnessed from you, you guys just seem to have a ridiculous win percentage when it came to the pistol. I think even some of the ones that you lost, like there was one versus VP, the one going into the end of Dust 2 as well. You probably should have won both of those. So, like, is that a focus, or is it just something naturally that comes to the team?
I think that our players are just pretty good pistol players. Like, we have, when it's T rounds, we have a player like Zaz that's just really good at W and headshot at the same time. And then we just have, with the CT side, everyone is pretty good at one-tapping with the USP and having like solid aim. So I just feel like pistol rounds are just our thing, basically.
Well, either way, Mimi, thank you very much for joining us. And of course, best of luck when it comes to Showdown next week. I'm sure that we're going to see an impressive display from all of you then.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Yeah, one of those situations where, of course, I think there are some positive takeaways, and I do sort of agree in terms of like what you said about Train. Like, if the momentum had sort of started or continued without like the few pistol upsets that came here and there, it very much could have been a very different match. The unfortunate truth was when it came to Dust 2, like, we look towards Espada as one of the teams that really are probably statistically they are the best team in this tournament. But obviously, if you're comparing them to the likes of even Gambit and VP, then probably not going to have the same sort of success going forward.
Yeah, I think that their train game plan was pretty good. Like I was mentioning in the post game of that one, I felt like most of the rounds started pretty well for them. It's just that a lot of the times when it broke down into a 3v3, 2v2, they couldn't quite put all the pieces together.
Yeah, I feel like that one round, the pistol round, right? The 2v4 and the A bomb side, they had it, right? They got all the open kills and everything. And these are the scenarios, like, it could be nerves, right? It's only day one. Bear in mind, they're playing 3-3s, and on day one, they haven't really had a tournament in the past 5 or 6 months, a tournament of this caliber, where you have a team like Espada playing all the tier 2 teams out there in the region almost every day. So it could be the nerves. Hopefully, they fix it. Aim-wise, I have to agree with them. They were hitting some really nutty shots, some cool ideas coming out. Just need to tighten the ship up a little bit more.
For sure. Well, now to move things on a bit in terms of our plays of the day. We have got 5 plays to show you. And Blair, I want you to take this away. Number 5.
It is going to be our man Sophic pulling off the 1v4 clutch ace. It was a round I really felt was indeed going to go the way of XSET, but unfortunately Sophic, he was just standing and delivering, having a pretty good game considering he had a rough game earlier today.
Yeah, very nice round from them. And at number 4, we are going to get Face Crack on the USP retake.
Underrated player.
This is against Espada, and yeah, Face Crack, he might be a little bit underrated by his team right now, having just been benched, but now he's back and he is firing. And Blett, you heard Blett say, underrated player.
Yeah, bench then unbench. That's always a good sign, right? You know, minus Chris J plus Chris J,
yeah.
minus Face Crack plus Face Crack. Nonetheless, moving on, a man who actually, again, has come back into his team not too long ago, Buster with the 4K B-hold. He had an impressive day. And in fact, I think his comeback into this Virtus Pro roster has been what has sort of brought them back from not necessarily a poor performance, but also being impressive.
Indeed, that was a great haul coming out from the man. And of course, this was Patsy just running and gunning. This was the most ridiculous round of the day. It was a 5v5, a full 3D stack towards the A-bomb side. They had the guns as well, and Patsy's like, I do not care. Just mowing them down. The 4K stealing the round away from Almazer and his men.
Yeah, that might be the most incredible round, but this will be the number 1 play with Dexter. The blind shot to kick things off onto Exit Power, then just barely spotting the top of Flit's head right there, just a little white cap, and he's able to take down Almazer as well, falling down to finally end things off on Face Crack. Underrated player, but Dexter puts him underground.
It's interesting as well that we were sort of talking just before this about who we were considering to be like our player of the day, who we were looking at to be the sort of player to take it all. And we sort of mentioned Flip, but he doesn't make it onto any of the plays, Blair. So clearly just someone who performed very well consistently, but maybe not being the flashiest player within the server.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care. Like, if you're going to be dropping a 30 bomb and then suddenly you drop like just 10 kills, like if you're going to be consistent like this guy, he was fantastic, 69 kills over, you know, the 3 maps they played, which is great average, right? Things like almost close to 25 kills per map. He was so instrumental in them winning that game. And bear in mind, you know, Espada did put up a fight and he had some fantastic moments, being ably supported by the rest of his team as well. Great job, Flip.
Yeah, it's not always about getting all the highlight rounds. Sometimes it's just getting the kills you're supposed to get and going above and beyond and finding one more here and there. And that's what Flit did for Forza in a game where, I mean, by the bookmaker standards, they were actually the underdog. So helping his team pull off the underdog victory.
Yeah, for sure. I've enjoyed watching him as well. Like, I remember during the We Play sort of Clutch Island event, the RMR, he was still actually doing exams. So now that he's sort of fully focused on Counter-Strike, maybe he can give XPower a run for his money, who was a little bit quieter today. But that is now it for today. Firstly, of course, we have to say thank you for everybody who makes this one possible. And although the production team are probably the main one, we're going to give our shout out to our sponsors, of course, Intel, MSI, Corsair, and Monster, making this all possible. And other than that, guys, that's pretty much it for today. We've made it through. You've survived. I may have shocked you all with my Christmas hat, my Christmas jumper, and well, you don't want to see what I'm wearing on my legs, but I think that would be too much for you. Yeah,
I don't want to see anything like underneath this. I'm good here.
Okay,
I'm so good here, Tom.
But nothing below the neck. But yeah, that will be all. And any feedback you want to give me on air? Anything?
Show more skin.
A little bit lower with the Christmas jumper. Okay, let's end it here. Thank you very much, guys. That has been day 1 of DreamHack Open December. Make sure you tune in tomorrow because we have got 4 best of 3s on this stream.